By way of the Tatra electric train, we shall discover luxury hotels that reflect past elegance, architectural Alpine flair, and the full splendour of nature. A journey to the High Tatra. The High Tatra is the smallest high mountain range in Europe. A magnificent mountain landscape with majestic rocky mountains and many lakes. The High Tatra National Park was founded in 1947, an imposing natural paradise in the heart of Slovakia. Its mountains were created when, in primeval times, the outliers on the southern and eastern edge of the Tatra Massif were forced within a deep graben. Here there's much high mountain plant life, fine endemic species of the Carpathians and glacial remains. A healthy tree population surrounds crystal clear mountain lakes, which came into existence at the end of the last ice age. With unspoiled nature, ideal walking territory, and boating. On the banks of the Štrbské Pleso is the Grand Hotel Kempinski, which consists of 3 interconnected historical buildings. It has a nostalgic facade and a modern 1920s interior of the Belle Époque, a period that was dominated by secession style. This splendid honeymoon suite is one of its most sought-after accommodations. From its tower is an unforgettable view of Čermá Lake and the mountains of the High Tatra. All around, Slovakia's highest settlement is well camouflaged. The Tatra Railway travels from Štrbské Pleso station, which connects a number of the Tatra region's spa resorts. An adventurous mountain journey. At first, the line travels alongside a mountain road with a good view of the local flora. The tram-like carriages are very comfortable, and the route continues steadily uphill, the view gradually opening up. The railway has become an indispensable means of transport for growing Tatra tourism. After several short stops, we arrive at the oldest Tatra community. Along the main road, there are charming old villas in half-timbered style. All is peaceful and already suggests the area's spa character. There's a modern town hall that reflects the progress and prosperity of the local community. The wooden houses of this region are half-timbered, typical of Tatra architecture. The framed Smokovec's Kiselka, medicinal spring, has a story attached to it. A count once met a gorgeous girl who was drinking water from the spring. He asked her, "Do you like it?" or "Schmeckt es dir?" From this came the term schmecks, which later became Smokovec. And this health resort was born. On July 3, 1995, Pope John Paul II visited the Roman Catholic Church of the Virgin Mary. The village was founded in 1793 and the church was inaugurated in 1888. In 1904, the Grand Hotel was opened. Even today, its Art Nouveau attracts discerning guests from around the world. Its location in the centre of the village and historical architecture act as a magnet. Its interior is that of a Grand Hotel, a luxurious turn-of-the-century hotel. An elite mountain sanctuary. Its luxurious King Suite contains an abundance of right royal comforts. And the four-poster bed has indeed helped several crowned heads fall into a well-deserved slumber. The view from the balcony to the park highlights the beauty of this landscape. The Tatra Railway continues. It brings to mind the origin of this railway that was planned and constructed in K&K times. The development of tourism began here with the implementation of this railroad in 1871 and brought Bratislava and Vienna closer. A regular service with the railroad began on the 20th of November 1908. We arrive at Tatranská Lomnica, at an altitude of 870 meters on the southern foothills of Lomnický Peak. Just 6 kilometers from Smokovec, this tranquil location was founded at the end of the 19th century. It's one of the region's earliest settlements. In 1892, the first spa and spacious parks were built with government assistance. Also, a botanical garden in which numerous typical mountain plants thrive, as well as rare and endangered species. Well-kept wooden and stone paths lead through the more than 3-hectare grounds, which include various types of vegetation. Here there are also high alpine gardens with limestone and silicate subsoil, and various varieties of shrubbery growing between the rocks. There's a mountain path and tiny bridges across various watercourses that are bordered by natural circular stones. A young mountain torrent searches its way within the rocky landscape. Everything appears so natural that it's easy to forget that all this was created by mere humans. Between the rocks, there are endemic species of plants and flowers, and also glacial relics. Here, following the retreat of the glaciers, they found a secure refuge within the cold of the mountains. This botanical garden helps us to understand this natural paradise. When the state spa was built, hotels followed. In 1905, the famous Grand Hotel Praha opened. Chic Art Nouveau surrounded by natural greenery, today offering the finest accommodation. On entering the hotel, the high foyer welcomes with the timeless elegance of an Art Nouveau gem. Glittering crystal chandeliers and balustrades on the first floor, with an all-round view of the reception hall that is furnished with several small tables. The dining room also characterises the atmosphere of bygone days, bright with well-regimented tables. The rooms are spacious and reflect the deluxe splendour of times past. Its four-poster beds are an added delight. The hotel's balcony views are quite breathtaking. An exceptional atmosphere within a charming setting. In 1969, the management of the national park introduced a museum that featured science, ethnography, and history. The wildlife of the Tatra region is also on display and contains many examples of the region's creatures, both common and rare. The diverse bird life of the high mountains is also represented. Many visitors are surprised at the large number of different animal species that inhabit the Tatra region. In addition, the region's traditions, culture, living conditions, and development of mountain sports are included. Colourful national costumes are presented in many ways, including shepherds and charcoal burners from the Goral tribe. Each tribe attaches great importance to its costumes that are endowed with special features by which they can be identified. There's a particularly impressive replica of the mountain landscape of the High Tatra, with its many rugged peaks clearly recognizable. Next, the region's second highest mountain. We start on the northern edge of Tatranská Lomnica. More and more people appear as our destination is popular throughout the year. We transfer to a larger gondola that travels to the next station, with a constant flow of travellers. It's becoming increasingly remote. The gondolas float above trees that have adapted to this rugged mountain terrain. The intermediate station gradually comes into sight as the mountain becomes shrouded in dark clouds. Now, we transfer to a comfortable cable car and make towards Lomnický Peak. The next section leads speedily uphill. Beneath the gondola, the forest becomes sparse, the result of a natural catastrophe when a devastating hurricane struck in 2004. We arrive at our destination. The doors open. There's an overwhelming view of the vastness of the Zipsian basin that was created during the last ice age. Situated amidst the rocky landscape, the station has a restaurant. Close by is Skalnaté Pleso, a small and mysterious shimmering lake, one of more than 100 of the region's mountain lakes. Lomnický Peak is wrapped in clouds. Its rock walls are gradually becoming covered with dwarf pines that stretch down to the lake. This is a natural mountain paradise whose future must surely be conserved. A short excursion leads to a nearby hilltop observatory. Here, solar energy is investigated and the cosmos observed. Everywhere are high Alpine Tatra bluebells and leopard's banes. And a fine view of the lake. Next follows the final section, up the high mountain, to the 2,634-metre high Lomnický Peak. The The gondola soon approaches the starting point, where the next group of adventurers are waiting for the final leg of their journey. We travel up into a mountain world where sudden weather changes and violent thunderstorms can occur at any moment. Below, another site of the romantic Steinbach Lake, crystal clear and emerald green. And in front of the gondola, a sheer rock wall that seems to lead to an impenetrable wall of clouds. The gondola's occupants become a little nervous. A feeling of both uncertainty and risk pervades the air. There's little more that can be seen, neither up nor down. Suddenly, and thankfully, the upper station appears. We exit on a mountain peak at an altitude of 2,600 meters. Suddenly, the clouds open again and again, and cliffs and narrow footpaths come into view. The surrounding area is remarkable, with the ridges and peaks of the Tatra displayed in all of their full majesty. Repeatedly, water can be seen deep below, between the rocks, small mountain lakes with no influence or effluence. Amazingly, it was once believed that they were connected to the world's oceans. Since the sharply divided main ridge is relatively short, the Tatra is regarded as the smallest high mountain range in the world. The cable car and an observatory were built here in 1940. It is the highest point in Slovakia in which people work day by day. An ideal location for meteorological and astronomical research. In 1962, a laboratory of physics of cosmic radiation and a coronary station of the Astronomical Institute were established here. Thousands of years ago, these mountains were formed by glaciers, now long since gone. Powerful forces created impressive glacial basins, deep hollows, and bright karst lakes. Granite rock forms the most resistant basic material, of which a large proportion was crushed during the formation of the mountains. Sandstone, slate, limestone, dolomite and karst are also characteristic to the area. What has emerged here is an imposing natural paradise. The Tatra mountain experience features true nature and undisturbed tranquility, as well as both a luxurious lifestyle and pure nostalgia. Indigenous culture, atmospheric transport, and above all, mighty mountains.